Hello. The intent of this presentation is to explain the redundancy principle found in Chapter 7 of our course book. The redundancy principle is a method of adding redundant on-screen text to a presentation. Let's take a look at this diagram. On the right, you see that a presentation should not include animation, narration, and on-screen text. On the left, you see that a presentation should include only animation and narration. This is because people learn more deeply from graphics and narration than from graphics, narration, and an on-screen text. When the instructional message includes graphics, you only want to explain the graphics with the narration alone. Do not add any redundant on-screen text. There are a few exceptions. One exception is when the learners are not native speakers of the language, and the second exception is when there are no visuals on the screen. Now, I chose a video in the early elementary grade level to explain and apply this principle. Here is a picture of a polar bear that only has two key words, which are fur and paws, and this is narrated. However, there isn't any on-screen text. Now, a redundancy non-example is in our next slide, which I'll have to fast forward the video to the part I'm needing to better explain. Now, if you look, the picture does include the same photo. It does not have the keywords, but you're going to want to pay attention to this on-screen text with the audio narration in place. Now, this may be distracting to have this on-screen text, and the learners may not be listening to the audio narration because they're busy looking at this on-screen text. The purposes for applying the redundancy principle is, well, learners may generate 3 times as many correct answers on problem solving, print, and text, and better outcomes for learners. A little personal reflection. After reading over Chapter 7 and learning more about redundancy principle, I read through the chapter and I kind of searched around on the internet to get a little bit more information. And this chapter was very meaningful to me as an educator because now I'm able to better understand the method in creating a presentation that will impact student learning. And in the past, and recently, I've created presentations where I included on-screen text with audio and graphics, which is not necessarily necessary, and it's not exactly going to get the best impact to whoever's watching the presentation. And in the case of being in a classroom, whenever I do make presentations, I will know that the narration and graphics are the most important pieces in a presentation that are going to impact students learning the most, and to not include the on-screen text, that it's not necessary. And that concludes. Thank you. Bye-bye.